When Carson Hocevar shows up at a racetrack these days, you can almost feel the other drivers tense up. And after what happened at Michigan on Sunday, one of NASCAR's most respected team owners had finally seen enough. Richard Childress, the man behind Richard Childress Racing, grabbed his radio and dropped one of the most savage insults you'll ever hear on a NASCAR broadcast. And it was all aimed at Carson Hocevar. But before we get into what Childress said, let's back up a bit, because this weekend was supposed to be special for Hocevar. You see, Carson Hocevar grew up just 85 miles from Michigan International Speedway in a town called Portage. The Michigan track has been part of his life since he was a kid. He went to races there with his family, watched his favorite drivers fly around the 2-mile oval, and dreamed about racing there someday. There's actually a funny story he tells about his childhood. His favorite driver was Dale Earnhardt. Jr. won at Michigan in 2008 and again in 2012. Those were Jr.'s only 2 Cup Series wins during a 7-year stretch from 2007 to 2013. And get this, Hocevar missed both of those wins in person. He said, "I enjoyed going there every year as a kid, but I always kicked myself. Every time that I didn't go, Jr. won, and every time I did go, he wrecked or didn't run good." So coming into this weekend, Hocevar was hoping to make his own memories at Michigan. He drives for Spire Motorsports, and he was the hometown hero. A huge cheering section was waiting for him in the stands. He even said he didn't have to get many friends and family tickets because most of them just camp at the track anyway. He said, "It'll be a lot of people that I grew up racing with, so it's always fun just to see who's there. Family-wise, there'll probably be a lot of people." Michigan is also one of his best tracks. Last year, he led 32 laps there before a flat tire ruined his shot at winning, so expectations were sky high. He even said, "Ultimately, it's a good place for me to go home because we run good there. So there's a lot less pressure when everybody's already really excited for you. I already feel really confident walking into Michigan, but it being my home track, it just lets me walk a little bit lighter." A win at Michigan would have been historic too. No driver born in Michigan has ever won a cup race at the track in the Irish Hills region. Brad Keselowski, who's from Rochester Hills, came close with 3 runner-up finishes, so Hocevar had a real chance to write his name into the history books. Plus, he's been having a strong 2026 season overall. In his first 14 races, the 23-year-old already had 6 top 10 finishes, 3 top 5 finishes, and a win at Talladega back in the spring. He came into Sunday ranked 9th in the Cup Series standings. But everything fell apart on lap 83. The race was at the Firekeepers Casino 400, and they had just gone green after a restart. Hocevar thought the field in front of him was taking off, so he made a move and tried to go 3 wide. The problem was, the cars in front of him weren't going as fast as he thought. He got into the back of John Hunter Nemechek's number 42 car and turned him sideways. From there, it became a chain reaction. Tyler Reddick, who was the Cup Series points leader, spun out and slammed into the inside wall going into Turn 1. Austin Dillon almost made it through the mess, but then Reddick's car came sliding back up the track. Dillon's number 3 took a hard hit right into the number 45. By the time the smoke cleared, the wreck had collected Tyler Reddick, Ty Gibbs, John Hunter Nemechek, and Austin Dillon, some of the biggest names in the sport. And here's the part that made everybody even angrier. Carson Hocevar drove away from the wreck without a scratch on his car. That's when the radio chatter exploded. Austin Dillon's spotter, a guy named Brandon Benish, was the first to call it out. He told his driver over the radio, 77 as usual is what causes these things. Notice he said as usual, because this isn't new. Hocevar has built a reputation for being involved in stuff like this. But then Richard Childress, the team owner, jumped on the radio with a response that's going to be talked about for a long time. The quote was picked up by Jeff Gluck from The Athletic, who shared it on social media. Childress said, "Yeah, anytime their eyes are that close together, it means they've got a small brain." That's about as savage as it gets in NASCAR. Childress basically called Hocevar both ugly and dumb in one sentence. And honestly, it might be the most clever insult Hocevar has gotten yet. Other drivers like Ryan Blaney have ripped him before, even calling him a moron. But Childress's line was on another level. Austin Dillon didn't hold back either when he talked to the Prime Video broadcast after climbing out of his wrecked car. He said, "Super unfortunate. I've seen one replay, but what I saw, I looked like the 77 got in the 42 and turned him." And then he made it clear that this isn't going to be forgotten. Dillon said, "I hope at some point he figures it out, but I'm not going to show anything to him for a long time. I'm mad because we had a fast race car. It sucks. We almost got through it." Translation? Payback is probably coming somewhere down the road. Even Dale Earnhardt Jr., who was working as a broadcaster, broke down exactly why this was Hocevar's fault. Jr. explained, "He's moving left to go 3 wide, but he does know he's about to make contact with that car in front of him. And he also knows, with the experience in these cars, that if he turns left while he makes that contact, it's absolutely going to turn the car in front of him." Jr. added, "I don't know that Hocevar can escape the disappointment that a lot of drivers are going to have here." In other words, Hocevar has been racing long enough to know what was going to happen. He made the choice anyway. Now let's talk about the damage this caused. Tyler Reddick took the worst of it. He had been having an amazing year and was leading the points. He was one of the fastest cars on the track. All of that disappeared in a few seconds when his number 45 Toyota got destroyed. He ended up finishing 35th. Then there's the wild twist with Denny Hamlin. He had won the pole on Saturday, but unapproved repairs to his diffuser meant he had to start the race from the rear. And while everybody else was dealing with the chaos, Hamlin was busy doing something incredible. He carved his way through the entire field and actually won the race, a last-to-first run for the books. John Hunter Nemechek, the guy who got turned in the first place, somehow managed to avoid the worst of the damage. He fought back and finished 14th on the lead lap. Austin Dillon, who was already having a rough season with just one top 10 finish in 15 races, watched his fast car turn into a pile of scrap metal. And here's the kicker. Carson Hocevar, the guy who caused the whole mess, actually finished 5th. He drove right past the wreckage he created and ended up just behind the race winner. So while other drivers were checking the damage and counting their losses, Hocevar was collecting a top 5 finish. That's probably what made Childress and the rest of the garage even more frustrated. The driver who caused the chaos walked away with one of the best finishes of the day. NASCAR hadn't made any official ruling about who was at fault, but the whole garage already knew where to point the finger. And this is the thing about Carson Hocevar. He's been ruffling feathers ever since his late-model racing days back in Michigan. He's earned a nickname too. The fans call him Hurricane, because wherever he goes, things tend to get messy. He's going to do whatever he has to do to win. He's not going to apologize for racing hard. But moves like the one at Michigan come with a cost. Other drivers remember. Team owners remember. And eventually, someone is going to make him pay for it.